Hey guys, Coach Ben here. You are listening to
The Benchcast.
With small arm, legs strong over here. We're talking warming up for the bench, or what we like to do beforehand to get ourselves prepared to do the movement, and then how to actually warm up. Your schedule your warm up sets while you bench, going into your main sets.
I think this one's big because a lot of people at the gym, commercial gyms, they just go into the bench.
Skip it.
They warm up for their squats, warm up for their deadlifts, if they do them. But they don't warm up for the bench. They just lie right down and get to it.
Note the trend is I see if you're at a powerlifting spot, if you're at a CrossFit, you have the tools to warm up properly. At least you have a foam roller, you have some bands, you have something.
Yeah.
You have lacrosse balls, you kind of know what the hell that is. People at commercial gym, it's not in the environment of warming up. They don't have rooms for that. You got to find space on the floor. So if you're in a commercial gym, I feel kind of bad. I even don't want to warm up in a commercial gym. That's how shitty it is. They don't have warm-up rooms. You got to use the yoga room or something. You have no space to do this stuff. And I don't know any places that have foam rollers for you to use. Do you know?
Oh, I know plenty.
You know plenty?
You just go to shitty commercial gyms.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. You go to a shitty commercial gym, I don't even know where the foam rollers are if they do have them.
Yeah, they're hidden. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah, they're hidden away. They're in the yoga room or something, right?
Yep, and then the people who do warm up, they bring out this big bag full of all these, bells and whistles.
There are the exceptions. But I think in a commercial gym, they just don't know how to warm up. And, like I said, no space really, especially if you're just trying to get onto the floor. And then the thing with open equipment. If I go to a commercial gym, very unlikely the bench is open, depending what time you go. So if that thing's open, I'm jumping on it.
If you go on International Chest Day,
yes,
good luck.
I'm like, after warm up, I'm getting onto this bench before someone takes it, and then I have to wait another 30 minutes. And at that point, I'm cold again anyway. You know what I mean? So it's a real tough environment. But you can do some simple things to get yourself ready. And then those of us who are blessed to be able to lift at a good powerlifting facility and have that room available to us to warm up, we can do a lot of good things to make sure that we are maximizing what we can do on the bench that day. All right. How I like to start the warm-up process is to grab a foam roller or some type of myofascial release stuff. All right. And not necessarily to dig a shit ton into a tight spot. That helps, especially kind of lengthen the muscle, give you that range of motion. But more or less just kind of get blood flow around. If you wake up, especially if you train in the morning, you get out of bed, you're stiff, you can't move well, right? We all go through that.
Yep.
I can't touch my toes, but that's usually any time of the day. But grabbing a foam roller, just getting some blood flow around. At least that gives you kind of some movement, but what it does is it gets blood flow around to other working muscles. When you're kind of stagnant at night, if you ever foam roll your quad or even use that stick roller on your quad, you feel it. You feel that movement. You're like pushing shit around in there.
Yep.
You can feel the difference. It's like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just you're pushing blood around. It's nice. It's good. It's like it hasn't been there, and now you're there.
It's like going in for a nice massage.
Yeah.
You just feel better.
It's just like those diabetic socks supposed to move blood through you better. You know what I mean? You're just pushing that shit through. But the thing is, that's going to make you warm, right? It's going to warm up the body a little bit, get the blood flow around, get stuff moving again. But then that's a great opportunity to start going right into your stretches. It really sets the table well, because stretching, like if you take a cold rubber band out of the freezer, all right, try stretching that shit. Probably going to snap on you. All right, same type of deal with your muscles. You want that to be warm so it's more pliable. You can stretch a rubber band till the cows come home, right, when it's warm. But try stretching a frozen rubber band.
It's going to snap that shit up.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So, foam rolling, get a little sweat going. And it is possible you get some vicious foam rolling in, you can break a little sweat.
Yep.
Get some stretching in. Okay, what I like to do specifically for the bench, foam rolling, I like to hit the hips, hit the adductors inside the thigh. All right, I get the back, the lats. I try to get the arms best I can with some type of roller, stick roller or something. But everyone wants to hit upper body. But you got to understand, as we talk about all the time, benching's a total body movement. All right, it's not just upper body. So if you're not warming up your lower body just as well as you are your upper body, you are missing the boat big time, hugely. All right. Two key areas, and when I go into my stretching too, and I want you to check out online on Big Bench's YouTube channel, Core 4. All right, that one, I'm huge on the Core 4. It's been a total game changer for me. 4 perfectly placed stretches that are going to hit everything you need to just be able to, go through the day pain-free in the lower back. Opens up your hip flexors, hits the QL muscle, lower back. You're going to feel great after you do the Core 4. If that's all you do, that's all you have time for, thing takes like 2 minutes to complete.
Max.
2 minutes max. Yeah, no reason you should even take that long. I get on the ground, bang, bang. And I do that 3 times a day, I'm good. I know if I do that, I ain't getting a low back pain. If I skip doing that and I stop not stretching, right, then I am going to get a ton of lower back pain. I don't even want to stand up. I just want to sit down. My hip flexors are so jammed up tight. As you go on a long road trip, you better stretch after. But look up Core 4. If you don't know where to begin with that, Core 4, that's the place to look. It's on our YouTube channel, Big Benchas. Just search it. All right? But I'm really big on 2 areas in particular. T-spine to help gain that range of motion, all right, in the upper back. T-spine mobility.
I know the lacrosse stick one you showed me.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Yeah, you want to be able to arch well. We do a T-spine mobility exercise with the lacrosse stick and adductors. That's inside the thigh. I know for me, how I teach benching, feet out nice and wide, stable base of support. I can't get my feet out there if I just jump on the bench cold. I have to do some type of adductor stretch, some type of myofascial release with the foam roller. I got to really open up that area, or I'm not going to get my feet out in position.
I'm a toes back bencher, heel up. So I need the whole. I need the quad stretch. I need to open up.
Quads, hip flexors to get you back.
Not gonna be able to get as tight.
Yeah, I have. I've been there. I've done that back in the day. Do some toes back benching. I understand that completely. Changes what you need to do. Hip flexors, quads. If I jumped on a bench now and did toes back, I feel like I'm totally ripping my hip flexor out. And that's a big area for me too. I've been getting beat up there a lot, trying to push back on the bench, and I don't really have that external rotation in my leg, in my left leg, and I get real torn up there. So I know that's a spot I need to hit. Okay, so I'll take care of those areas. Everyone's got a few key areas they need to get taken care of before they jump on the bench, but that's unique to you. I'm big on those 2 areas just because I find that helps a lot of people. All right, but you might need totally different stuff.
Yep. I think we just figured out what happens if you do 2 back-to-back Instagram lives.
Yeah, we conked out here.
Yep. Hit the time limit.
Yeah, no worries. But now if we move on from there, we do the foam rolling, get some blood flow around, get our bodies warm. We do some stretching. Now I like to get into some, if you really need to dig into some active release stuff there, digging in with a lacrosse ball. Or I like to do just some activation work in general. I like to do some mobility with the band. So I put the band around my shoulder. I let it pull me back. I try to square up. I'll let the band pull my shoulder back. The bow tie is great for that as well. Look up the bow tie if you haven't heard of that. Pulls your shoulders back into a nice neutral position. Gives you a nice chest stretch.
I like even wearing the bow tie during my lower body warm-ups.
Yeah,
I find it just pulls me back.
And it's passive, so you have no reason you shouldn't wear it. You can just throw it on.
Yep.
It's not getting in the way. You can still do everything you normally do. I like for activation, I like to do something light but fast. So like throwing a med ball against a wall, real explosive work. Just putting bands behind your back and pressing into them. Kind of like a lineman shooting off the line with the hands, slamming into that man. Explosive push-ups, if you can handle that, if you're a lighter weight, doesn't beat up your joints. Doing the push-ups where you actually jump up, you clap your hands. I think those are great exercises, some explosive band push-ups. Any of that is great because you're doing the movement, but you're doing it fast, you're doing it explosive, you're warming up the nervous system, getting yourself ready to move quickly and explosively. All right, it's all about muscle fiber recruitment. So, is there anything you prefer in general, warming up? You have a go-to med ball toss type deal or something?
Yeah, I think you covered pretty much everything. But what I like to do is just really emphasize mobility of the back, just getting a lacrosse ball in there. I even like getting my spinal erectors. Because I just tend to cramp up there in the bench.
Yeah,
when
in
you're
the back.
getting a really tight setup, things are going to cramp sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. You notice where you cramp up in the bench, either the hips, hip flexors, back, because that's often a telltale sign. You got to spend a little more time in that area.
I actually like to take time in my warm-up to decompress from the day, to throw out all the garbage, with working out first thing in the morning, day before, and just focus on bench session.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great time to do that.
And then you could go and see, oh, my shoulder's feeling a little weird today, my elbow's feeling a little weird. Maybe you go back, get a little extra love in the warm-up so you can avoid a problem during the session.
Yep. No, you're spot on. It doesn't become a problem until it becomes a problem.
Yep.
You think you can get away with not warming up until that one time you straighten your pec really bad and you're like, shit, I didn't even warm up.
Yep, should have taken a little extra time for that.
You know what I mean? So I go through that more or less on deadlifts. Deadlifting, I'm pretty nasty in the hips. If I don't spend time hip flexor work, even a little extra time, 5-10 minutes, if I don't do something a little bit extra, it really hits my lower back hard, and I can tell that difference. Bench, I can tell my hips will start cramping if I don't spend time in that area.
Told you guys we would sneak in a little deadlift warm-up in here. But
Sons of bitch deadlifts. Tell you gotta warm up hardcore for those. But yeah, you get that done. All right, now you head on to the bench.
Yep.
All right, so now we're heading on to the bench, warming up on the bench. So what I like to do is I'll never sandbag the empty bar. That's my biggest pet peeve, and I'll catch everyone moving the empty bar like it's super heavy. They're moving it slow. I understand kind of getting into that groove, but what I like to do, I'll go feet up. I'll do like 20 reps, something real explosive. Like I ain't sandbagging it. I'm giving all my 100% effort to that empty bar. I'll go after that. Everyone thinks I'm done, but I'm not. Coach Ben fooled you. I'm not done. I go into a full setup, and I'll do the empty bar, real explosive, 1 rep. And the reason I only do 1 reps with everything is because I teach people push back as hard as possible. If you only have an empty bar, there's not enough weight to hold your shoulders down. So if you're truly pushing back on the bench hard, and you explode into that empty bar, and you try to throw it through the roof because you're going 100% on like 2%, right, then you should be off the bench by then.
And when he says full setup, he means full competition setup.
Yes, maximize the shit out of it.
Just as tight as it was if it was 400, if it was 500, if it was 600.
Yeah, treat all those warm-ups like max effort. Because I'll tell you, that's how you're going to get ahead of everyone else. There's the secret right there. You bring 100% to all those warm-ups. Everyone's sandbagging warm-ups. All right, they're taking their time. They're moving slow. All right, treat it like speed work. You're getting something out of that. Whether you think you are or not, you're getting something out of that light work. Muscle recruitment, learning how to explode into the weight. You're fine-grooving the press every single time.
You're practicing the skill of benching.
Yes. And if you do that more times than everyone else, you're going to be better. All right? You think of it. You bench 2-3 times a week, right? Say you get like 6 good warm-ups in. That's a lower end. You get 6 good warm-ups in before your working sets. All right? Say one of those warm-ups is good for the average person. If you nail all 6, I mean, just think of the stats on that. Say just make it easy twice a week, right? You got 12 good warm-up sets and someone got 2. Multiply that for a month. You got 48 good sets in, someone got like 8. Expand that onto a year. I can't do that math, but you get the gist of it. You're kicking ass. All right, whereas someone else, they probably didn't even reach 100 good warm-up sets.
You're on 576 good warm-up sets.
Yeah, you're like pushing 1,000 good warm-up sets. Oh, he did the math.
I did
576. The math. You just crushed 570. That's on the low end, guys. 576 good sets, whereas someone's doing like 20 good sets. All right, just guess me.
If they're
okay, you're kicking ass. You're getting something out of that. All right, don't think you're not getting something out of that. You practice that setup like 500 times more than the other guy. You know what I mean?
You're golden.
So that's that gets you ahead. So that's really big, and treating them all like it's max effort. I'm talking when I do the bar, I cannot do a second rep because I'm already off the pad. But my head is off the pad because I am driving so hard with my legs, and oftentimes my hip flex, if I don't warm up good, I feel it on that first rep because I am pushing at pushing with my legs. Okay? So, that's what I like to see for warm-ups on the bench.
Now, I think a lot of people have the question of how should I warm up, as in how much weight should I put on every time to get to my working sets?
Yeah, so I like to typically see like 6, 7, 8 good warm-up sets. All right, no matter what weight you're starting at. If you're benching a plate, don't throw a quarter on and then go to a plate. That's just dumb. I know you don't want to look, weak or whatever in the gym, warming up with a 10 or something. But if you are warming up to a plate, don't take a quarter and then jump to a plate. That's just dumb. If you are maxing out 225, all right, don't take quarter, and then 225. Slow it down a bit. Take more warm-up sets. Get your body ready. Someone that benching 400, they ain't going to be doing that. Hopefully they ain't going plate jumps all the way to 400. There just got to be some process in between where you get a few more warm-ups in. Okay, granted, as you go up in weight, you're taking bigger jumps. If you're lower in weight, you're taking smaller jumps. Okay, but you got to make those jumps accordingly. Okay, easy way to do it. You don't know what the hell's going on. Take your working weight for the day. Divide it by like 7 or whatever.
Then you have your intervals.
Take that weight. Take off the bar, 45, and then divide it by 7. And then you know how much weight to jump each time. And that's an even jump each time.
It's quick math.
It's real simple shit. Nothing to it. All right. If you're warming up for a rep max, I wanted to touch on that because that's a little bit different. So if you're warming up for a big 1 rep max,
that's a party for a lot of people. So let's hear it.
Yeah, that. Granted, I know there's a lot of people out there maxing every week on the Max Every Week program. But if you're warming up for max, it's going to be a little bit different. So, say you're going for over 300-pound bench, slightly over 3, trying to hit like 310 or something like that, right? You can start off, if I teach it, do the singles, okay? You're not going to be able to do reps because, like you said, you should be totally off the pad, all right? Typically, what you see is people do more reps early on, okay, which is fine, but as you get closer to that number, you got to cut it down to singles because what's the point here? We're not burning ourselves out in warm-ups. We're trying to save our energy for that big top set. So you got to cut it down a little bit. Start hitting singles as soon as you get like 2 warm-ups in. I'd start hitting singles, practicing what you're going to do for the day. Okay.
I think also setting an intent for that day is huge. If you know you're going to do a 1 rep max, you're not going to do 5x5 beforehand.
No, you're right.
And if you know you're going to do 5x5, you're not going to take singles all the way up. So just know what you're doing for the day, and it'll help you program your warm-up for that day.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to know what you're doing in order to plan an effective warm-up process for that. But if we're getting into that 310 bench, all right, you're probably going to want to feel something relatively close. Okay, you don't want to go from 275 to 310. And that would be typically everyone's thought process, right? It'd be 275, you throw whatever 300 is, be like, oh, I just need a little bit more, toss it on, whatever it may be. All right, but don't do that. Don't take that big jump right at the end, especially if you were nice and calculated up. Don't take a huge jump right at the end. Plan something a little bit closer to it. So maybe going for a 310. See how 295 moves first. Okay, if you got to go 275 to 295, do that. All right, slow the jumps down a little bit as you get closer. Feel out what you're capable of. All right, because there's a big difference between 275 and 310.
It's huge because
it can hit you like a shit ton of bricks.
And it's good, so sometimes it just might not be there. If 295 moves like you're a bag full of bags, 310 might not be in there for the day.
Yeah.
Maybe 305's there though.
Yeah, and it also brings a good point. You know when to cut it out for the day. All right, if something doesn't move good on the way up, maybe you shouldn't test that max then. Maybe that's a day that you're not on point for whatever reason. Take a technical PR, hit 300 really smooth instead of trying for a 310 that's going real shitty, so to speak. All right, especially if it's training, you're not getting anything out of that.
Doesn't count.
There's always more training sessions for certain. There's always more meets, so. Save it for the meet if you're really going to test yourself. That's what I always recommend. Even when I test my max, here for example, I kind of know what I could really push, and then I know what I can safely kind of hit for the day. And I'll always take more times than not what I can safely hit, unless I'm at a meet. But that's how I would break it down. And I think we did a good job touching on that. Other things that I would include too, I'm a big fan of, especially if I'm feeling a little beat up, a little achy in the joints, I like doTERRA or Blue Heat. Everyone has a different preference, but I'll rub some of that on me. Lights up the area, the elbow, where it kind of distracts your mind, gives you that warmth. And I'll put an elbow sleeve over it. And I'll just let that thing heat up in there, and it stays nice and warm throughout the whole lift.
Which it definitely says on the jar, do not do. The do not compress.
Well, I compressed it. But I like doing that. I like kind of capturing that heat in an elbow sleeve.
People get like icy hot Bengay. There's toast too, which is phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah, all that. But especially if you have like an area you want to distract your mind from too. You're getting close to a meet. We all kind of get beat up down the line. Play it smart for the day, but throw in that icy hot shit and different things in.
My personal favorite is just getting a voodoo band around like an achy joint. That's huge.
Yep. Yeah. So if you don't know, a voodoo band is basically like a rubber compression band, and you wrap it around that joint. Squeezes, kind of keeps the blood flow out, compresses the joint, so you get in that those little ligaments and stuff. Room to breathe. Room to kind of move around. It's like if you make a fist, right, and you squeeze your fist, you can feel how you kind of relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same type of deal.
Then go through the full range of motion. You take it off. It just feels so much better.
Yeah. It's more like a temporary thing in the short term. Long term, it definitely helps, but it's gonna make you feel better right away, and just doing that consistently. Voodoo band's a great one, and it's all blood flow, right? We're taking away the blood flow. Once it comes off, all that blood is rushing in, feeding with nutrients and whatnot. So it's all typically relatively same stuff. But that's a good point. Voodoo bands, rubs, whatever, all good parts of the warm up. The bow tie, very good passive tool.
Yep.
Wear it whenever. Office worker, sling that thing around your back. You're good. All right.
Just the most important part is take warm up seriously.
Warm up seriously. Yeah, I mean, just reading the statistics to you, over the course of a year, you bench twice a week. That's some really awesome comparison there, I think. I'm really fascinated by that, because that's how much extra ass you're kicking.
Yep.
Compared to someone else. Everyone's sandbagging and warm-ups. You're getting zero out of that. All right, especially if you're not taking the setup serious. If you're sandbagging setup, you're not pressing that bar fast, you are missing out big time. That's all part of the training. Take it serious. Alright guys, that's it about warming up. Wanted to cover that quick for you. Share this with a friend too if you guys are the type that go into the gym and don't warm up. So you know a place to start. Alright, you got a place to start now. Start taking those warm serious, because last thing you want is to hurt yourself, strain a pec, whatever the case may be, and then realize you didn't warm up and you maybe could have prevented.
That's time you have to take off from benching. Who wants to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you learn that real quick as you start out too. I remember I was on the max day or max every week program when I first started out, and I was dumb. There was zero warm-ups there too, and I just got to the point where I'd pull my back all the time, and then you learn real quick.
Listen, I was on the NDOT program, no days off training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've been on that a little bit too. That's just as worse.
That's just dumb.
That's just talk about non-motivation to do shit. You just burn. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, or thanks for listening, whatever you're checking us out on. This is, or before we get to that, I want to make sure you're following us on YouTube, subscribing to us, follow me at bigbenchas. Alright, make sure you're keeping them below our new content. We got the IG Live going, or the IG TV, the new stuff out. Alright, make sure you give a 5-star review. We really, really appreciate it. It helps out the podcast, so don't just skip through that. Please make a note whenever you can. Jump on iTunes, leave a nice review. Really appreciate it. I read them all. And you know Elvis?
At Small Arm Leg Strong.
Small Arm Leg Strong. And this has been the Benchcast.